On the 25th of December 2014, on the porch of a house in Belize, the prosperous apple farmer Tim McNamara was found dead with a gunshot to the back of his head. Beside him, his wife Tracy, 22 years younger, remained, lying under a blanket next to the body, claiming that her husband had taken his own life. A crucial detail besides being his wife, Tracy was Tim's niece, his brother's daughter. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of one of the most disturbing stories in American true crime. Before continuing with this fascinating case, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, click right now on the subscription button and activate the notification bell. This way you won't miss any of our most intriguing cases. And if you're already subscribed, leave your like to help the algorithm recommend our content to more people. Tim McNamara was a 66-year-old man, considered the patriarch of a respected family in the small town of Soap Lake, Washington. Owner of a prosperous apple farm valued between $1 and $2 million, he was divorced 3 times and father to 2 adult children, Jennifer and Caleb, with whom he maintained a close relationship. The story that led to his death begins in 2012, when his niece Tracy Nessel, 44 years old, received an invitation to the wedding of Jennifer, Tim's daughter. Tracy had grown up in Soap Lake but moved to North Carolina at 17, where she built her own life, even having a daughter. Although Tracy claimed she had always been curious about the McNamara family during her childhood, observing them from afar and imagining what it would be like to be part of that seemingly perfect family, the reason why she received an invitation to the wedding was never entirely clear. What we know is that at this wedding, Tracy and Tim met, and according to her, it was love at first sight. The relationship between the two evolved rapidly. Tim was going through his 3rd divorce at the time, and Tracy decided to end her relationship in North Carolina to be with him. Despite the age difference of 22 years, what shocked the Soap Lake community the most was the discovery that Tim was actually Tracy's biological grandfather. According to documents, Tracy's biological father would be Denny McNamara, Tim's brother. Additionally, Tracy's mother had also had a relationship with Tim in the past. Tracy, however, claimed not to know Tim as a grandfather or uncle, but as the man she fell in love with, describing their connection as connected souls and referring to him as my father, my best friend, my lover, all in one. Just a few months after the start of their relationship, Tim did something that left his children extremely concerned. He transferred all of his properties to Tracy's name. This included his house in Soap Lake, 2 extra plots of land, and, most importantly, his beloved apple farm. For Tim, this farm was his pride and joy, representing the McNamara family legacy. When questioned, Tim's lawyer stated that he did this because he feared his own children would sell the farm after his death, and he trusted that Tracy would maintain the family business. Faced with widespread disapproval in Soap Lake, the couple decided to leave the town in 2013, selling all properties and moving to Belize in Central America. In Belize, Tim bought a 50-hectare farm with the intention of transforming it into an inn with Tracy. As was already standard, this property was also put in her name. In 2014, Tim rewrote his will, declaring that he wished everything to be left to Tracy. After a year of living in Belize, the couple held a wedding ceremony, although legally they could not marry in the country due to local laws prohibiting marriage between such close blood relatives. The couple's financial situation began to deteriorate in 2014. Tracy did not work, and they depended exclusively on Tim's money to finance the construction of the inn and their daily expenses. There came a point when they had only 1 week to complete the project before becoming completely bankrupt. During this time, Tim's children suggested that he sell his apple farm, which could yield between $1.5 and $2 million, solving their financial problems. However, Tim refused to consider this option, preferring to face financial difficulties rather than giving up this family heritage. During this period, something extraordinary happened. Tim's grandmother accused him of having molested her when she was a child. This accusation emerged amid tense email exchanges between Tim and his children, in which the family expressed their disappointment with his choices, particularly his relationship with Tracy and the transfer of assets to her name. According to Tracy, Tim was devastated by this accusation, although his grandmother maintained it was true. Tracy's mother also later claimed that Tim had molested Tracy when she was young, although Tracy denied having any memory of this. Now, let's go to the fateful day, December 25th, 2014, Christmas Day. Tim and Tracy were working at their inn in Belize. Later, while Tracy was preparing dinner, Tim was sending some emails. At some point, he stood up and walked to the front door. Tracy claims to have heard a loud shot, but this did not immediately alarm her, as it was common for Tim to shoot into the air to scare away animals or potential intruders. When she finally went to check, she found Tim lying on the floor, lifeless. Initially, Tracy thought he was joking, as there was no visible blood. When she realized something was really wrong, she began screaming for help. However, a crucial detail is that she did not call emergency services for 3 full hours after finding Tim. During this time, according to her account, she simply sat beside him with a blanket over them both. When questioned about this delay, Tracy claimed not to know how to call paramedics in Belize, being a foreigner in the country. When the rescuers finally arrived and transported Tim to the hospital, he was declared dead at 11:30 at night. From the hospital, Tracy called Caleb, Tim's son, reporting what had happened, but without being able to explain exactly what had happened. Caleb immediately traveled to Belize, arriving the following evening. When questioned by authorities, Tracy suggested that Tim had taken his own life due to financial problems and family tensions. An email that Tim had sent to Caleb that day, saying he loved being his father, was interpreted as a possible indicator of suicidal intentions due to the use of the verb in the past tense. After talking with the authorities, Caleb advised Tracy to leave Belize as quickly as possible, without explaining the details of the conversation. Tracy followed the advice and returned to Soap Lake, Washington. 2 weeks later, forensic reports were released with shocking findings. Tim's death was classified as homicide, not suicide. There was blood on Tracy's shirt, which could indicate that she had fired the weapon. The reports also stated that there was no blood or gunpowder residue on Tim's hands, suggesting he had not shot himself in the head. Even more revealing, the analysis of the wound on the back of Tim's head indicated that the person holding the gun should be shorter than him, ruling out the possibility of suicide. Tracy's lawyer tried to refute this evidence, claiming that the blood on her shirt came from when she tried to help Tim, and that the rain would have washed away any gunpowder residue from his hands during the 3 hours the body remained exposed before the rescuers arrived. The McNamara family was convinced that Tracy had killed Tim for financial gain. After all, everything had been transferred to her name, including 2 life insurance policies worth $500,000 each. The case became even more complicated with the revelation that Tracy and Caleb, Tim's son, had maintained a sexual relationship for 13 years, from 1999 until 2012, when she began a relationship with Tim. According to Tracy, Tim knew about this previous relationship, and it deeply disturbed him. When Caleb went to Belize after his father's death, Tracy claimed they slept together again. Although Caleb denied this specific accusation without denying the 13-year relationship. Despite the strong circumstantial evidence, Tracy was never formally charged with homicide by the Belize authorities. However, Tim's children did not give up seeking justice. As Tracy's extradition to Belize would be extremely complex, Tim's children opted for a different strategy. They hired a lawyer to represent them in a civil action for homicide. The objective was to invoke the Slayer statute, an American law that prevents a person from inheriting properties from someone they have murdered. After many postponements, the civil trial finally began on March 7, 2022, before Judge John Nodley in Washington. After 2 weeks, the verdict was favorable to the McNamara family, declaring that Tracy had committed assault against Tim, causing his death in an illegal and intentional manner. Tracy was ordered to pay $1,900,000 in damages to the family, plus $1,450,000 to be divided equally between Jennifer and Caleb. According to some sources, Tracy did not appeal the decision and remains in Soap Lake, in Tim's old house, managing the apple plantations. This case raises disturbing questions about family relationships, inheritance, betrayal, and how much money can motivate terrible acts. Tracy's pattern of behavior approaching a wealthy family, quickly gaining Tim's trust to the point that he transferred all his assets to her name, and his subsequent death under suspicious circumstances shortly before an insurance policy expired, suggests a meticulously elaborated plan from the beginning. Even more frightening is the complex entanglement of family relationships. Tracy maintained relations with the uncle-grandfather and with the cousin-nephew Caleb, creating a picture of manipulation and emotional exploitation that culminated in tragedy. This is a case where conventional criminal justice failed. but civil justice offered some measure of retribution to the family devastated by the loss. However, for Jennifer and Caleb, no financial compensation could replace the loss of their father in such horrible circumstances. If you like this case, don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel for more true crime stories, like this one. Share in the comments what you think about this complex case and if you believe Tracy planned everything from the beginning. Until the next case,